Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine, and this is Bronte Sisters Black Tea Blend from Simpson and Vale, which I like. And also, I'm probably going to be mentioning the Bronte sisters a bit, mostly Anne and Charlotte, but so appropriate. So, I'm doing the end of the year book tag, which was created by Ariel Bissett some time ago, and it's a good time to get started because now we're past the middle of November, and I think most of us just want to see 2020 end, although that's very rose-tinted lenses about 2021, but hey, it's nice to be positive, isn't it? I think. So, oh, Janie's here, but she's probably not going to come on the video because she's difficult. But anyway, we'll see. Surprises happen. Wait, is here? Yeah, like a very, very little bit of her. Anyway, Freddie was here, and then he saw me filming, and he's like, no. Anyway, so let me, I'm allergic to 2020. Just hear 2020, and I'm like, ah. So, end of the year book tag number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? And there are like 100 books this year I need to finish. That's being dramatic, but close enough. And that's how I am, honestly. I am the kind of person who starts books. And I'm going to get into this more when I do my TBR for... Yes, I'm moving. For December, which is... My intention is to just not start any new books if I can help it. And just to finish the books. What happens to me is I get a bunch of books that I start. I like a lot of them, but I can't finish all of them. Because then I start more books the next month, especially if there's a month that a challenge happens and it's like, let's focus on reading this kind of book. So if I'm reading a book that has nothing to do with that, I might just put it aside. So that it builds up, builds up, builds up. So yeah, I have too many to talk about, but I will just start by mentioning this one, which I started in January. And I'm up to 100, I can't speak English, 157 pages, and it's just over 300 pages, this book, so about halfway through. So take courage. Anne Bronte and the Art of Life by Samantha Ellis. Well, I actually liked it when I started in January, but then I realized there was a lot of references made to her works and Charlotte's works, and I guess Emily's works too, but I read most of her poems, not all, but I've also read Wuthering Heights, so I'm covered there. But with Charlotte, I had read Villette and something else. But then I hadn't read Jane Eyre yet, although I basically knew the story of Jane Eyre, so I wasn't worried about spoilers too much. But then there were references to Shirley, and I'm like, I haven't started Shirley yet. And then, of course, there were references to Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which I hadn't finished yet. So I got annoyed. I mean, I should have known. It was me having too high expectations for things. I should have known that they're going to refer to things, but it was just too spoilery. But I did like the book, and I want to finish it, so that's one example. Okay, but man, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? No, I don't, and that would be really cool. I would love to figure out an autumnal book that is like, okay, it's September, I'm going to start reading this book again. I can't think of anything, but I should come up with something. I will say types of books because I start getting into, when October comes along, it's Victober time. So Victorian novels, I just associate now. Even if I read it in January, I still associate it with autumn. So close enough, maybe? And I guess nonfiction November too, so nonfiction books. That's very wide. Well, this wasn't really numbered, but this is the third question. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? Now, I don't know exactly what this means. If it's waiting to get a copy of it, waiting for it to come out. So I kind of combined that. One book is by Sean, I think it's Bithell. I've read 2 of his books. He is a bookseller in a very big bookshop in Wigtown, Scotland, which is a book town. And he wrote Confessions of a Bookseller, Diary of a Bookseller. I forgot which order. They're hilarious. They're grumpy. I enjoyed them so much. And now he came out with a book called 7 Kinds of People You Find in Bookshops. I think it's already out in the UK. I'm not sure if it's out in the US, but I probably could get it via Book Depository. But I've kind of put myself on a don't buy anything new. I mean, if I hit this time, sometime before the end of the year, if I hit Book Off, because they do have sales on top of their deeply discounted things. They usually have sales at the end of the year. Even so, I still am just going to try to curtail that. But I'm trying not to buy any new books for the rest of this year because I'm on a budget after Freddie's bills, you know? So, but I want that book. A book that was supposed to, I thought, come out this year, and I put a hold on it in the library, of all things, and then it just disintegrated when the library holds all shape-shifted. And then I found out the author just announced that it's coming out in May, I think, next year, is China by Edward Rutherford. Now, he's not my favorite author of all time, but I do like his books about London, The Forest, which is the New Forest, another book about England, some books about Ireland, which I used to have right behind me, but I think it's over there now. He basically writes kind of sagas, you know, following different families through history, and I enjoy that stuff. The last one I think that he wrote was Paris, which was some time ago, and he also wrote one about New York a while back now. So China's going to be his newest one. I'm quite curious about that. And then, let's see, Jenny Lawson. Now, she is a writer who, she's written books kind of based on her blog. She's called The Bloggess. And it's basically about mental health, but humorous, and sometimes taxidermy, and conversations she has with her husband that are hilarious. So it's kind of like comedy, but also, you know, a little bit dark. And she wrote 2 books already that I could think of. And wow, the names are escaping me. But her name is Jenny Lawson, and my brain is not working today. And she also had a coloring book. And so now there's a book coming out called Broken in the Best Possible Way by Jenny Lawson. I would love to read that. I don't know when I'm going to get a hold of that. I think it comes out next spring. So I have to wait. See, I already had to wait for something of hers anyway, which I'll never probably be able to do, which was she is opening up a bookshop. And I saw the beginnings of it last year when I was in Texas, but this year they were ready to open, but guess what? COVID. I think they are sort of open, but not to foot traffic, like a lot of places, which is smart because you know what? The bookshop near me, which I like quite a lot, they were very careful not to open to traffic since March. They have curbside, they have all kinds of things, and they would love to open. They don't feel like they have the resources to do that properly. And apparently one of their team, they announced, has COVID, so it was probably right of them to be careful. But that's no fault of theirs. Nowadays, it's just so widespread. But anyway, so I've been waiting for her bookshop to open. Who knows if I'll ever get a chance to see that, but at least I can read her book. Okay, another book that I had in my hands, which came out either this year or last year, I can't remember, is The Land Beyond the Sea by Sharon K. Penman. She writes historical novels, and I think I might have skipped the last book she wrote about Richard Lionheart. She wrote one about him, and then she wrote another one where it was the King's Ransom, where he had gotten caught and held for ransom, I think in Germany, and King John was behind, and well, he wasn't King John yet, in England, so his brother was a little bit sketchy, and his mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, who is one of my favorite historical figures, had to help raise this ransom. I just wasn't really in the mood to read that, though. Maybe one day, but this book, I think, is a little more about the lands of the Crusades, so that sounds really good. I was in Book Off. I saw it for $15.50, I think, which isn't a bad price, but I'm still kind of like, it's still too much for me right now. And then the last one is what I'm waiting for. There are other books probably, but these are just the ones I thought of off the top of my head. This one I have on hold in the library, but it's not ready for me yet. I've been hearing about it all over BookTube, and so far I've heard good things, so hopefully by the time I get it, I'll enjoy it. And it's called Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, which Hamnet was Shakespeare's son who died, sadly. So I am looking forward to that. Okay, the next question. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Now, that's good that they gave me a number because there are more than 3, but I will show you some books that I want to... I mean, I'm not even talking about the ones I'm currently reading in November, but... So I mentioned Shirley. I made a lot of progress in October, but I'd like to finish it in December. This is a book I think I started in January, but I might have started in December, and I liked it, and then I got just hit in a snag for some reason, and I want to keep going because I've, again, heard wonderful things about it, and I did like it, so that's Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. Little tissues. It's about therapy. It's about getting therapy. It's a memoir. A therapist getting therapy. And the one I started last December, which I did make amazing progress in and then just stopped. And it would be great to finish this in December because I associate Dickens and December as one and the same. So Dombey and Son. Yeah, I made progress. And it's a good book. So, okay. Is there a book you think you could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I guess that means books that I'm either currently reading or haven't started yet and plan to read, haven't finished, whatever. And maybe I will love it. I don't know. But here's one that I am really enjoying. So I don't know. I wouldn't call it my favorite book of the year, but it could be a favorite if I do a top 5. And that's Romantic Outlaws by Charlotte Gordon. It's about Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley. So each chapter kind of is about one and the other, which took me a while to adjust to, but then I got used to it. And I'm really liking this book. I don't necessarily love everybody in the book, but the story itself is so interesting, so different than a lot of the people of that time. And I have read a lot about the people of that time just because of my interest in Jane Austen, really. So it's a great book. Totally cool. Totally recommended. Okay, so what do we have left? Oh, last question. Have you already started making reading plans for 2021? Indeed. And I don't know if I'm going to do a separate TBR for 2021, whatever, probably. And if I go to watch the ones that I did for 2020, I'll probably be sad. So, yeah, okay, I'm getting introspective again. So, I am making what I call rough plans, things that I would like to read, that if I get a chance to read, that'll be great. And if I don't, I'm not going to be too disappointed. I do have a potential buddy read for January. And it's a book that I intended to read this year, so that's good. And it's a classic. I also have The Next in the Trollope, Barsetshire, I don't know what they call it. His one series based on this one area of England. Oh my goodness, my poor brain. The next one I'm up to is Framley Parsonage, and I heard it's not the best of the series. When I say series, it doesn't have to be read necessarily in order, but you may get slight spoilers about people who got married, you know, because there are characters who are recurring, but they're not maybe strictly about one particular character, and that's fine. But I heard that Framley Parsonage is it's still good, but not the best one. But I still want to read it because the next one is A Small House at Allington, which I've heard really good things about. And I'd like to read that next year, too. I want to keep going in my Agatha Christie reading. I stopped for a couple months just because I had too many other things to read. But I want to keep going with Poirot and back to Miss Marple. I haven't read a Miss Marple full-on since I was in college. I don't even remember which ones I read. I'm assuming it's the paperbacks that I have at home. But I'm not sure if those are the ones I read. So I really want to get back to Miss Marple, maybe other ones from her, but those are the main focuses, and other mysteries. Now, that could be mostly for March, because March has that wonderful thing called March Mystery Madness, which I enjoyed last year. It really helped me get through some of the early days of the lockdown, the very confusing time of what is going on. Now we're just kind of like resigned, I think. But, yeah. But March also had a thing, which I didn't do last year, because I was like, I can't, because I'm going to London, and I can't read big books. And then, of course, I didn't go to London, so I probably could have planned it, but you know what? I gotta stop being angry about that. I don't know if anger is the word. Okay, so this book, my cat was just licking it a few minutes ago, which is kind of, I'm like, why? But anyway, speaking of take courage, this book I got last year when I was starting my Bronte comeback. And this looks amazing. I've heard so many good things about this. The Brontes' Wild Genius on the Moors, the story of a literary family by Juliet Barker. and it is huge. It's not the only big book I have. I have a million, well, that's being dramatic. I have a lot of chunky, chunkster, doorstopper, mammoths, whatever you want to call it. And this is the one that jumped out at me first. So I have one about Cromwell that's pretty big. I have a lot of books that I want to read next year. And so we'll hope for it, but we're not going to worry too much because we're thinking more about the end of the year, right? So that's about it for my books. I really wish I could think of, give me a moment. Okay, so I was getting a bit of a brain fog there trying to remember Jenny Lawson's books, and I just didn't want to finish the video without showing her books. So I think I've shown these before. This was her first one, Let's Pretend This Never Happened, a mostly true memoir. Includes a new chapter. I should look at to see what that is. And Furiously Happy, a funny book about horrible things. So, I didn't realize I had both soft covers for some reason. Oh yeah, I think I showed this to you guys when I picked this copy up, or however I got this book, because it had this whole birthday greeting in it, which was kind of sad because whoever this is didn't hold on to that and kept it in the book. I don't know, that's weird. Whatever. So, this one I got from Thrift Books, which now every time I go into Book Off, I see a copy of this for $1. I'm like, man, but whatever. If you guys want a copy of this, go to Book Off, get it for $1 if you're in New York, which you're probably not. So, yeah, I'm not really, saying you have to read these books, but they're pretty fun. So yeah, good. In total completionist, if that's the word, spirit, because we're trying to end the year, right? This is Catherine Taking Tea with Catherine. If you like talking about these kind of books, please subscribe. If you like the book, if you like this video, please like it. If you have any of your own plans, I've watched some of your tag videos. If you don't, if you're not making a video, then please let me know what plans you have in the comment section. So this is Catherine Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book-filled day. Goodbye.